Hello and welcome to another episode of Why Jesus. Our young guest on today's show is Nidhin from New Jersey, USA. Hi Nidhin.
Hello.
Welcome to Why Jesus.
Thank you.
Nidhin, before we go on with the show, can you tell us a little more about yourself, your family, what you presently do, what your hobbies are?
Well, in a family of 4, I'm the youngest. I have one older brother, and I have my parents. My hobbies are that I play violin, and I also like to read the Bible.
What are you currently doing, Nidhin?
Currently, I'm in 10th grade in high school.
Do you like going to school?
I would say yes, because I like seeing my friends and talking to them.
Do you have a favorite subject?
My favorite subject is math.
Least favorite subject?
Probably my least favorite subject is English.
Why do you hate English?
Because there's so many essays and projects, and they're so current.
What would you like to be when you are out of high school?
When I finish high school, I plan to go do something in the medical field. I'm not completely sure what specifically though.
Now, why the medical field? Does anybody in your family work in the medical field?
My mom is a nurse, and she's also studying for her nurse practitioner.
Do you have any specialized area of interest in the medical field that you would like to choose?
I was thinking physical therapist, pharmacist, or a nurse.
Oh, nursing, interesting. What is your take on males being nurses?
There's a lot of stereotypes saying that only females should be nurses, but I have friends who have dads that are nurses as well, and if they can do it, why can't I?
What do your parents say about that, having you as a nurse, a male nurse?
They support me, and they just want me to do something in the medical field.
Very interesting. It is a really known fact that there's a higher number of males in the nursing field in the U.S., unlike other countries around the world. And I think that's of great support to the females in the same field. Very interesting. I hope and wish that you would pursue nursing. That's a great career. Now, Nidhin, coming back to your schooling, it's a known fact that a lot of youngsters face a lot of challenges in middle school and high school. How was your experience with high school?
Well, I faced a lot of challenges, like my friends going to parties, drinking inappropriate things, and smoking and things like that. I usually stay away from that and try to avoid those types of people.
Now, how do you deal with such issues when you are in school and everyone around you is doing this and they seem like it's cool, make it seem like it's normal? How do you deal with such challenges?
First, I try to ignore them and avoid them, and then when I'm alone, I pray, and I pray that they stop bothering me and they stop talking about those kinds of things.
Now, you said you prayed. How does that really come about in your life? Like, did you always pray, or what influenced you to start praying in your life?
Well, ever since I was a kid, I've always gone to church at my Sierra Malabar Catholic Church, and I've gone to catechism classes my whole life. And my parents have always taught me about Jesus and how all the miracles he did. Also at the Interdenominational Christ Church, I've also learned from Brother Dr. Mathews Vergis and everything he's taught us.
So you said that you went to catechism classes and your parents taught you, and then you did attend this other church led by Dr. Brother Mathews Vergis. But was there somewhere along the way that you did this for yourself, or did you do this because your parents actually led you on and told you, go to church, Nidhin, that's why you went?
At first it was just because my parents told me to, but then later as I got older, I realized that praying to Jesus really helps me through my life.
Can you share those experiences where you realized like praying to Jesus does help you?
One experience is how we have concerts at my school twice a year, and it was a concert on a Friday, and we performed, and I had a solo, and we were in front of an audience. I was right at the front, and I had practiced and prayed and everything, but I was afraid that I would mess up, and I actually did mess up in front of everyone. And over that weekend, we had a fasting, and the Monday after the fasting was a rerun of the concert, because we do that. And during the fasting, I prayed to Jesus, and I asked him to help me so I don't mess up for the rerun. I also prayed to Brother Uncle, by Jesus' help, I didn't mess up at all on that Monday. And another experience would be we was fasting in Canada, and it was on the way back, and we're on the bus, and we almost got home, but I started feeling sick. And when I told my parents, and they told me to just sit down and just sleep it off. And then it got worse gradually, and then I told my parents again, and they told me to go to brother uncle because he was at the front of the bus. And when I told him, he prayed for me, and then he told me to just sit back down, and then I sat, and then I fell asleep. And when I woke up, I was completely fine. I didn't feel sick or anything.
Very interesting. Now, you did mention you attended fasting prayers, and that it was in these fasting prayers that you got this answers for your prayers. Can you share how you went about attending these fasting prayers, or what do these fasting prayers truly bring to you?
Well, when I go to these fasting prayers, I usually pray to Jesus that I feel better or I need help with something. And every time, like let's say it's for a test, I pray during a fasting, and then when I take the test, I'm prepared and I know everything and I do everything amazing. And it's the same with when I play violin. I always pray at a fasting so I don't mess up whenever I play. And by Jesus' help, I usually don't mess up.
Now, for a person who does not know about fasting prayer, like me, what would you say that is most touching about a fasting prayer? Can you just describe the different aspects of a fasting prayer?
Well, there's different aspects. One would be the praise and worship, and that's when everyone gathers together and sings songs, and I play violin for that, and that's one aspect. Another is the end of the fasting, when there's the blessing, when Brother Uncle blesses each person and prays for each of us.
And that's an experience that you say that really touches you in a fasting prayer. Interesting. Nithin, now you sound so firm in your faith and belief in Jesus, but has there been any point in your life that you've actually doubted Jesus, or if you've ever thought to yourself, is this all true? Am I just believing some story that someone else is saying?
Yeah, one time was when I was taking a test, and I had prayed and prepared and everything, but then when I got my results back, I didn't do as good as I thought I did, and I thought that God had abandoned me, or he forgot about me, so I was really doubtful then.
So what do you do when you get these doubts?
At first, I try to pray, and I read the Bible at the same time, and then I tell my parents, and they tell me to just keep praying, and then I pray to Jesus, and then I hope for the next time that he does help me.
Now, you said you read the Bible. Is there a favorite Bible verse that you actually find comfort in?
And my favorite book would be the book of Jonah and the story of Jonah and the fish. It's how Jonah was told to go to Nineveh and preach to them to repent for their sins, and he was afraid to go there because he thought he would get stoned, or he might even get killed, so he ran away from God, and he got on a boat and tried to escape him. And then when he got on the boat, a huge storm started, and he knew that it was his fault that the storm had, so he told the fishermen to throw him off, and they threw him, and then a giant fish ate Jonah, and 3 days and 3 nights he stayed in the belly, and then he prayed to God, and God finally forgave him and told him to go back to Nineveh and preach them. And then he got out of the belly and he went to Nineveh and preached, and they all prayed to God and they fasted, and God forgave them.
Now, what is it about this story that you like so much?
My favorite thing is how God is forgiving, because even though Jonah ran away and he tried to escape him, he still forgave him, and how he also forgave the people of Nineveh even though they worshipped idols and things like that.
Now, Nithin, how does your faith in Jesus affect your friendships with others in your age group?
Well, most of my friends don't really like listening about Jesus when I talk to them about it. They try to ignore, or they pretend like they're listening. So I just try to tell them more, but most of the time they just try to ignore me.
Have you ever been able to lead any of your friends or anyone to Jesus, to believe in Jesus?
I've given my friend a Bible from the scripture sharing students led by Brother Uncle, and that's where we give Bibles to students from kindergarten to college. And I'm not sure if he read it, but I did give it to him and told him about Jesus.
And how was his reaction?
At first he was pretty happy, and he opened it up and looked through it. He said he would read it.
Nidhin, what would you say is the greatest aspect of believing in Jesus?
The greatest aspect is how forgiving he is. No matter how many times you do wrong to him and do wrong things, he always forgives you no matter how many times you do it.
Is there an aspect about your faith that you do not like so much?
My least favorite aspect would be how sometimes when you pray to him, he doesn't always respond immediately, but you just have to wait and have patience, and he will answer your prayer eventually.
Now, Nithin, is there a person that has inspired you in your relationship with Jesus?
There's a couple people who have inspired me. One would be my mom with everything she's done. Whenever I'm having troubles with school or whatever, she always tells me to pray and to read the Bible, and it'll help me. And another person would be brother uncle, because whenever I go to the meetings or fasting prayers, he always gives me advice on what to do and tells me what verse to read from the Bible, and I always read it.
Nithin, you did mention that your hobbies were playing the violin. So how did you get into playing the violin? Did you always know that you had this passion to play the violin, or how did that whole thing come about?
Well, in 4th grade in school, what they do is they make every student go to the music room and try instruments. And at first, the teacher told me to play the clarinet because she said that I was good at it, but I didn't really like it. And then she told me to try the violin, and I started playing, and it was pretty easy, so I thought I would play that instrument.
Was it hard to learn?
It was pretty hard to learn with all the notes and everything, but it's easier to get better at as long as you practice.
How many years have you learned the violin?
It's been 8 years.
And what is the greatest tip that you could give to anyone out there who wants to learn the violin?
The greatest tip is to always practice and practice every day.
Can you show us a little bit of your talent on the violin?
Okay. The song I'm playing today is Thank You Jesus by Brother Dr. Mathews Vergis from the album Come On to Jesus. And I chose this song because I want to thank Jesus for everything he's done for me.
That was amazing, Nithin. Nithin, you said this was a song by Brother Dr. Mathews Vergis. Now, if we were to access it, where could we listen to this song?
Well, you could find the album Come On to Jesus at the Interdenominational Christ Church in Tampa, New York, or you could get it from the Bible Towers throughout Kerala. And you could also go to Word to World Radio and click on the jukebox link, and that has all the songs written by Brother Dr. Mathews Vergis.
Now, Nithin, you said that it was in 4th grade that you knew that you liked the violin, and what was your course of action to be so good at it now?
Well, I first started off just by learning from my teacher at school, and she taught me for about a year. And then my parents signed me up with an instructor at my church, and he's been teaching me for 7 years now.
Are you still learning?
Yes, I am.
Now, do you practice every day or every other day?
I try to fit in at least 1 hour a day, even with all of my schoolwork.
That is intense work, Nithin. Does anybody else in your family play an instrument or is into music?
Well, my brother, he's in his 2nd year of college and he's an engineering major, and he plays the piano. And I've gotten inspiration from him because we both started playing around at the same time, and he supports me at church for the Mass, and he also supports me in the ministry.
Do you ever get into conflicts regarding music, or do you practice together and get on each other's nerves?
We usually practice together, and sometimes I do get on his nerves, but usually we work it out.
Now, you said you play at church. Do you only play religious music, or do you play secular music too?
I mainly play religious music at my church for Mass. I also play for the ministry, but I also play secular music for my school, where I've played solos and such.
Do you find a difference in playing religious music to secular music, Nithin?
I get more comfort playing Christian music because I know that I'm playing for Jesus and he's always with me, so I don't mess up.
Nithin, say if you were given a chance right now to go back in time and change something in your past, is there anything that you would like to change, like play the drums instead of the violin?
Well, one thing I would change is how much I've practiced, because there are some times where I just don't practice and I shrug it off, and then that makes me get worse, and I wish I'd gone back and practiced more, and where I've messed up at places, I wish I could change that by not messing up and practicing more.
What are your plans for the future?
My plans for the future, one would be to master the violin and get better at it. Another would be to go into college and get a good job and move on with life. Another thing is to still reside in New Jersey.
Now, why did you say still reside in New Jersey? Was there an option to reside elsewhere?
Well, my parents are planning to move back to India after I finish college and everything. And I want to stay with them, but I'm not really used to the temperature, and I'm more comfortable here because I was born and brought up here.
Were you born here in New Jersey?
Well, I was born in the United Arab Emirates, but I was only there for a little time, so most of my memories are here in New Jersey.
Now, you said that your parents plan to retire in India. Have you gone to India?
I usually go every other year.
What is it about India that you dislike so much, other than the temperature?
My least favorite thing would be how many bugs and mosquitoes there are, because I always get bit.
And what is it that makes you want to stay in New Jersey that's different from India?
Well, I have a lot of friends here that I've known for many years. I also know most of the people around, like the town, at the stores and stuff. So I'm very familiar with everyone here, so I don't really want to change that.
Now, when you're not playing the violin and you're not studying, what do you do to relax?
I usually read the Bible or sleep in.
Sleep sounds good, Nithin. Nithin, if there was something that you dislike the most in the world today as a youngster, what is it?
I think my least favorite thing about the world is how much hatred there is, even with this silliest conflicts like churches fighting between each other on who's right.
What do you think you could do to solve that issue? Do you think you could do something about it, Nithin?
I think the least I could do is use my music and try to spread love and try to calm the hatred, and hopefully that my music will spread and inspire more people to spread more love.
Nithin, as we conclude today's show, do you have a message for the youngsters out there?
Even though you might not want to, always listen to your parents because they know what is right. And whenever you feel alone or abandoned, remember that Jesus is always there for you. Know Jesus, try Jesus. He'll change your life.
Thank you so much, Nithin, for joining us on Why Jesus. We wish you the best of luck for all your future plans. Thank you, friends, for joining us on another episode of Why Jesus. Hope you'll join us again, same place, same time next week.